Hi, welcome to the first show of LWRadio. I'd like to introduce you to Goldie Hall. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on with y'all?
And I'd also like to introduce you P Star.
What's going on, guys?
And my name is Red.
All right, so this is a radio show mainly doing wrestling reviews, but doing reviews from not only WWE, but also independent promotions, and maybe even some little Japan reviews thrown in there. So we're going to start out first show with Raw, which aired last night, August 29th edition of Raw. As we are headed toward Night of Champions, and the show started out with Triple H coming out into the ring. He said that it is his job to make sure this company thrives, and says that from now on, SmackDown Superstars will be on Raw, and basically, I guess, they're going to call it a Raw Super Show now. And Triple H said that is I guess before we go on, we can go ahead and talk. What are your guys' thoughts on SmackDown Superstars just being on Raw seemingly full-time now? Red, I guess we'll start with you.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it seems like they're trying to think that they're putting one over us, because it's like they've been doing that for the last, couple months, and now it's just somehow official. I don't mind it, but at the same time, it's just like we don't really got to sit there and play dumb like it hasn't been going on for the last couple of months. So, I mean, it doesn't really bother me, but just don't, try to make it seem like it's new.
Yeah, the issue, though, is, I'm about to say is, but didn't want to say that. But the main issue that I have with it is, will the bottom guys not get as much time on Raw now? Or, I guess one thing Triple H didn't say was if Raw guys would be going on SmackDown shows as well, just as much as they want. I mean, they sort of do that anyways. But really, what I remember reading about why this decision was made for Raw Superstars to be on SmackDown is because SmackDown house shows have been not doing so well attendance-wise. And so they hope that if they're on Raw, more people are likely to go to the SmackDown show, which I think really it's just years of WWE not taking SmackDown seriously and always refer to it as the B show, things like that and just raping the talent off SmackDown. I mean, really, you look at that talent they have right now, it's like Christian and Orton are the clear two top guys, and after that, you don't really have any major top guys. Like, Sheamus is sort of there, Mark Henry is also sort of there, but they've treated Henry like shit over the years of trying to finally rebuild him. But I think really it's just, though that many years of treating SmackDown like garbage, it's finally catching up with them. Their plan is just, let's just throw these guys on Raw. That's what it seems like to me.
You have anything to add, Goldie?
I take it more as, they've raped the talent from SmackDown for a long time. Cena came from SmackDown. Randy Orton, they put him over there just for a little bit, just to try and help out SmackDown. And after Edge retired, they really didn't have anything else to work with. So I do understand the process of it all, but it's always been the B show, and it's always had been like a lesser quality to Raw to begin with. So I understand what Triple H or, the powers that be are trying to do.
Yeah, it sort of makes sense, but I mean, I think really they should just keep Raw and SmackDown separate, and have some top guys on SmackDown, have some top guys on Raw, and then if you have guys that can draw, then they'll want to go to your house shows. But when you take all that talent off SmackDown and send it to Raw because that's the biggest show, then obviously your attendance is eventually going to go down because people are like, well, why do I want to see that? I remember reading recently that they on a SmackDown house show, they were like advertising Raw and stuff. Like the biggest stars of the SmackDown house show were like John Cena, Rey Mysterio, CM Punk, all guys that were on Raw and none on the SmackDown house show. And they were the biggest stars. So I think obviously most people, if they're going to a house show, they want to see Raw because that's where all the big guys are. But if they just treat it like SmackDown, have them have some top guys, I think they would be fine. But anybody else have anything to add, or should we just move on with Triple H's promo?
Well, to be fair, though, about the point of SmackDown not, being the B show, at one point they did have a solid lineup, and that was a while ago, maybe two or 3 years ago. And then they just took it all away. When they had, Batista and Khali and Edge and edge little faction.
I want to throw Kali in there. Kali is awful.
Yeah, Kali will never, ever, ever be a main event product.
Well, no, I mean, at that one point he was, and I was somewhat interested in SmackDown. But it did have its solid lineup beyond Kali.
Yeah, well, see, the thing was they were on their last legs on My Network TV. My Network TV wasn't really pushing the show. They were taking it off in markets. So WWE's response was like, we're going to take all our top SmackDown guys, we're going to put it on Raw, we're going to put the shitty guys in your show since you're not building it up anyways. And they've never put those guys back on SmackDown. They just kept them on Raw. They moved over Randy Orton, which he is a big deal, but I mean, when that's your only guy, it's like, well, what else do you expect to happen?
But on the flip side, SmackDown does have talent. They just don't know how to build it up. They could do something a little bit more with Cody Rhodes. They could do something with Ted DiBiase. You know, they tried to make them into future superstars when they were on Raw. I don't know what happened in the process to put them far back on a back burner. But, you know, they do have talent to work with.
Yeah, the thing is though, they might push the guys on Raw for a little bit, like they did with Cody and stuff, but then they just bring them right back down, and they move them over. It's hard for people to then take them seriously. And if they put guys who are gaining a lot of momentum, then maybe put them on SmackDown, or people really want to see them, then maybe they could be something on SmackDown and draw. But, I mean, I like what they're doing with the young talent on SmackDown. It's just, some of those talents have been treated like garbage on Raw. They haven't been taken seriously, so then in turn it's hard to take them seriously on SmackDown. But if nobody has anything else to add, we'll just move on here.
Sure.
All right.
We had Triple H said that the fun part of being CEO was to make good decisions like he did with the Raw Super Show, but unfortunately, also being CEO, he's being lied to a lot, and some of those lies are coming from his best friend, Kevin Nash. And Triple H said that Nash is lying to him because Triple H won't let him be a man, so he decides to call Nash out to the ring. But Punk comes out instead. Punk wants Triple H to stop lying to him, and this brings out Kevin Nash. Nash said that, yeah, he lied. He told his driver to tell John Laurinaitis that he was in a wreck because he knew Triple H would leave the building, so that could allow Nash to get the Punk. Nash then asked Triple H what kind of a man is Triple H, and Triple H responds by saying that he's the kind of man that doesn't expect his best friends to lie to him. So now he says he can't trust Nash. Triple H wants Nash to leave the building, not come back. But Kevin Nash says that John Laurinaitis has signed him to a talent contract. So if Triple H wants to fire him, go ahead, but his contract is guaranteed, so he will still get paid sitting at home. This is when Punk acted like he was throwing up, and he said, I'm acting sick just like the way you guys are acting right now. It says that Triple H and Nash, basically, Triple H gets Nash to do his work for him because Triple H can't do it by himself, and that Punk is happy. The Click is back. He's like, is everybody happy? The Click is back. And then he's like, it's the same noise that people make when they change the channel with the remote, the same noise that Nash's knees make when he walks. Which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
And Nash then wants a match with Punk. Punk says, why don't we do it at Night of Champions? And Punk says, Triple H wanted to go and ask the board of directors, or in other words, your wife, to make the match, because Triple H wears the panties in the family. And so Triple H was like, fine, Punk, you want the match, you got it. So at this point, it is Kevin Nash versus CM Punk at Night of Champions. So, Goldie, what were your thoughts on this whole segment?
I thought they would probably. I thought by now they would have given us a little bit more clarity to, you know, what really went on at SummerSlam. As I feel that Nash has no reason to be in the ring right now, especially with his condition. His knees are gone. So I didn't think it was a pretty good sell trying to, you know, put him against Punk. Maybe him against Cena I could probably see because Nash has more of a power game. And Cena has a sort of power game that he's trying to put submissions in it, but he's still a power kind of guy. I would see that a little bit better than seeing Punk, which is more submissions and smaller, against someone like Nash. In reality, all reality, it probably would be a squash. And I just wouldn't think that would be good for TV, good for wrestling, period. Um, the whole Triple H and CM Punk little exchange, that's interesting. I think it brings out something new to Triple H. No one has really hit on his personal life before. You know, Triple H may have joked about it back with DX, but no one really hit on it the way CM Punk is.
Yeah, I like the whole interaction with CM Punk. Just you can tell Triple H is so angry at Punk, what he's saying, but he doesn't want to get physically involved because he made the promise, which we'll get to more on that later because I still have more to say about that. But I do love Triple H and Punk's interaction, and I mean overall I thought the segment was pretty good. Punk was annoying when he faked like he was throwing up. I felt like that went on a little bit too long, but it's still intriguing somewhat, at least who did send the text message if they were going to follow up on that. But definitely interesting. Red, what did you think of this?
No, I thought it was pretty solid. I kind of knew that the Punk and Nash thing was going to happen. That was just obvious. I mean, that they were going to do that. But, you always see Punk going after Triple H and pushing his buttons. And it kind of makes you think in the back of your head, what's really going to happen? Is it going to be... I almost thought at one point that Triple H was going to say, well, after him, you're going against me. And again, the interaction between him and Triple H is pretty amazing because they have so much chemistry, which I didn't think, because I've seen them wrestle each other before and it wasn't that great. And now they have this dialogue and maybe really trying to get it to work, and Triple H trying to get in the spotlight once again. I enjoyed it overall.
So, anybody else have anything to say about the segment, or should we move on?
Let's move on.
Alright, so we have the first match of the night, which, to show Raw and SmackDown stars on the same show, was an interpromotional match with Randy Orton taking on Dolph Ziggler, and this match was awesome. I really, really enjoyed this match. Just all the counters and reversals and moves both these guys were doing were just awesome. Dolph Ziggler is just really good. I really want to see him get a singles push because I think he can do a great job. He's stuck right now with Vicky and Jack Swagger and in between that, and it's just making him look just stupid. But I really want to see Dolph Ziggler on his own. But Randy Orton he's had a pretty awesome year. I mean, before his feud with Christian, or really before his feud with CM Punk, I didn't really care for Orton that much. But this year, since he feuded with Punk, Christian, he's had awesome matches with them, and this is another match that was awesome. Randy Orton, I think he's having a really good year. He's really impressed me. This match here, just really enjoyed it. I think everybody should check it out. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that, Randy Orton is, what I like about him, he's never boring. He's unique, and he's very passionate when he does his.
I want to say he's never boring. Because there were points the past couple of years where he's been extremely...
I'm saying in the sense of this year.
Yeah, this year, yeah, he's done a great job this year.
He's I don't know, he takes his losses and his wins, and he has those. He doesn't make himself super overpowered all the time. I mean, even though sometimes he does win, a lot of his matches, but at the same time, he gives the other opponent like he can barely just handle them, and they have these great matches and stuff like that, and they last more than 5 minutes. And so, I mean, I enjoyed this match. I was kind of surprised by Dolph Ziggler because it actually let him survive the song, because I thought it was just going to be a quick RKO and, embarrass him as a wrestler even more, which I hate when they do that, because I like Dolph Ziggler. Even from the first time I saw him, I was impressed. So I'm just glad they pulled it out as long as they did, because it made it worth watching.
I feel like it was match of the night. It really did open my eyes about Dolph Ziggler. I really didn't have that much respect for him because of Vicky Guerrero. So, I really thought he was just, like a passing fad, and he needed Vicky to carry him. Basically because I really don't watch that much SmackDown because of the quality of the product. But that was match of the night, and it really impressed me the way he held his own against Randy Orton. It really did. And I